Occasional sun on Saturday, high of 48. Saturday night cloudy. Areas of rain and some snow, high of 32. That's your forecast on Kim Radio Talk that matters. Right now it's 25 degrees.
This is where South Dakota sports fans come for real South Dakota sports talk. Welcome to SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown. From East River to West River, high school to college to the pros. This is your sports talk show that covers it all. And now, on Kim Radio, talk that matters. The host of SD Sports Buzz Tonight, here's Nate Brown.
Well, happy snowy Wednesday to many of you here in Rapid City, also throughout the state of South Dakota, joining in on SD Sports Buzz tonight. I guess rain, snow, shine, we're going to try and make the show happen. I tell you what, digging out all day, snow blowing all day, as many of you have been. I'm kind of energized. Got a little exercise, got my workout in. Stay safe out there, by the way. The road's very good in Rapid City on I-90 coming in, but going east, for those folks going across the state, it's getting better and better. The road just got open to Chamberlain, and so the work continues out there. But rough patch over the last couple of days, there's no question about it. But the main streets in Rapid City, very good. The side streets getting better, but the Rapid City Police Department still saying, take it easy. If you don't have to go anywhere, still let the folks get the work done that they need to get done. But I tell you what, I had to go someplace. I had to get the show on tonight. So if you're snowed in, get locked in over the next 2 hours. South Dakota Sports Talk Show back on. Nate Brown back with you on 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, Kim Talk Radio, Rapid City's talk station, also online streaming in HD. We welcome you in wherever you may be watching on SDSportsBuzz.com. Busy show tonight, a fun show. I look forward to it. Talking to Colton Iverson in about 10 minutes. Colton Iverson, the great player out of Yankton, all-state player, went on to Minnesota, became an all-Big Ten tournament guy, had a great few years up there. Then playing time kind of got trimmed down. Some things went on there. He transferred down to Colorado State, had to sit out a year, but came back with a vengeance this past year in his final year. Colton Iverson down at Colorado State becoming an all-Mountain West player, becoming a honorable mention All-American today by the Associated Press. Colton Iverson will join us in about 10 minutes from Las Vegas, a place many of you and myself wish we were in over the past couple of days. Iverson's doing some workouts down there. He just was ranked number 64 as far as top NBA prospects. And to put that in perspective with some of our South Dakota connections, Nate Walters, who gets a bunch of attention here, the South Dakota State great guard, Nate Walters was ranked by CBS 79th. So Colton Iverson, even though he's been out of the state for a while, I think people kind of forgetting on the South Dakota scene that this guy had an outstanding college career and is ranked number 64, as a matter of fact, 15 spots ahead of Nate Walters, who obviously is a great player, and we've talked about on this show a lot. Colton Iverson will join us in 10 minutes to talk about getting ready for the NBA draft and what he has in store. He's working out for scouts and teams right now in Las Vegas. We'll also talk to Craig Mattick tonight, KWSN Sioux Falls Sports Radio. Want to get his thoughts on a lot of stuff, including the new Sioux Falls, Washington head coach, the end of an era out at Washington on the football side, Brian Hermanson resigning, and Chad Statham. Chad Statham gets the head spot at Washington, and that's an interesting hire because he took Howard to a state championship back in 2004. He took Flandreau to a state championship as well, to the state championship game, I should say. And Chad Statham, the new head coach for Sioux Falls, Washington. We'll talk to Craig Mattick coming up. Closer to home in Spearfish, Nate Rodert joins us. Nate Rodert, the first South Dakotan ever to compete in the Team USA Dream Team Classic wrestling tournament coming up just outside of Chicago on April 20th. Nate Rodert, the future South Dakota State Jackrabbit on the wrestling mat. He'll join us straight ahead. We'll talk a little college basketball as we put a recap on the season and NBA playoffs straight ahead. Chris Denker joining us, NBA scout tonight. Busy show. We'll get to it. I wanted to hit on this on the opening buzz. I couldn't believe it when we're all getting ready for baseball season around here. It's hard to believe with the snow piled high, but that's kind of the next focus. People are excited for the Masters this weekend, get into the golf season. We won't be playing golf around here for a while. Then we also get excited. Baseball's been cranking up. You see everybody updating their Twitter feed and Facebook and everything else. I haven't gotten there yet, but this is something that got me fired up. Minnesota Twins fans around here. There's a lot of you. I'm not one of them. I've said it from the start. I'm a Chicago Cubs guy. You can hold that against me. Believe me, you can't make me feel any worse than I feel being a Chicago Cubs fan. The Twins fans around here, I wonder if you found this out. I wonder if you saw this story yesterday as baseball season gets fired up, that the Minnesota Twins decided to do something and immediately realized their mistake. And I just wonder how this happens. I wonder how it happens. Did you hear that the Minnesota Twins were going to charge people an extra $15 to get in early to watch the Twins take batting practice? So never mind that some of the season ticket holders or some folks that bought their tickets on StubHub or whatever it may be, you go to StubHub for some of those good series out at Target Field. You, depending on your seats, you're going to spend upwards of $400 or $500 for some of those tickets, and an extra $15 if you want to get in early before they officially open the gates, so you can watch the Twins take batting practice. The Minnesota Twins, now I'll preface it with this, they're not the first Major League Baseball team to think of this idea. There's other teams that do this. One of example is the Houston Astros. That's not a juggernaut when it comes to Major League Baseball as of late anyway. And they charge $45. It's not just to watch batting practice. It's a VIP experience to watch batting practice, whatever that entails. So I won't totally pick on the Twins, but I'm going to point it out because I can't believe it. We go out there from out here in Rapid City and Sioux Falls and everybody. There's a lot of Twins fans around here. We know that. And the Twins are going to charge us an extra $15. I'll probably be going to the Twins-Yankees series coming up around the 4th of July. They're going to charge us an extra $15 to watch batting practice. And some people say, well, that's paltry. It's not a big deal. You're spending $100, $200 on a ticket, whatever it may be. Yeah, and that's the point. That's the point. You should be able to get that experience without having to pay an extra $15. And they were going to limit it. You were going to have to get in line outside. And there was only going to be 60 people let into Target Field this season to watch the Twins take batting practice. 60 people a game at $15 extra on top of your ticket price. So they're going to make $900 and just over $72,000 for the season doing this. And they put it out yesterday morning that this is how it's going to happen. This is what's going to happen now. So fans, get ready if you wanted this new experience. And it's just an idea gone bad right away. And I won't say it's totally a money grab, but it is a little bit. It is a little bit, and I think it's just the work of the marketing department to try and say, what can we do to try and enhance an experience, maybe give some people some exclusivity, a little bit of an idea here. What should we do? Well, let's let them in for batting practice early. Watch the Twins. They limit it to 60. You have a chance to catch a home run ball. All this and that might be fun. I think that was their thinking a little bit. And then I think it got into the part of, well, we can't just do it for free either. We got to make this, since it's exclusive, we got to charge on top of the ticket price. And that's where the fans are going to get upset. That's where I look at this and I go, it's just a bonehead play. And to prove my point, they put that out yesterday morning. 6 hours later, yesterday afternoon, as we were all snowed in, 6 hours later, they retracted it. They retracted it and said, it just didn't quite get vetted through the whole Minnesota Twins organization. So what that means is the marketing department, some of these people were thinking this through, and I don't know if I buy it that it didn't quite go to the top and on down. I think it did. I think there was such a backlash in the first 6 hours that this came out yesterday for the Twins, and they thought, maybe we'll just keep it. Maybe we'll just keep doing what we were doing. Maybe we'll just let fans in. They can watch batting practice, and they don't have to spend an extra $15 because they were going to charge the season ticket holders who already get that privilege. They already get a privilege, the season ticket holders, of getting in earlier than the other fans. Okay, they already get that privilege, and I'm telling you, the season ticket holders for the Twins yesterday probably just went berserk. They said, we're consistent supporters of the Minnesota Twins, and you're going to charge us an extra $15 and only 60 of us are going to get in each game when we've got that right now with our season ticket purchase? And it was such a backlash. 6 hours later, the Twins pulled that out, said, yeah, it just wasn't vetted properly. We're going to stay with what we're doing, and the season ticket holders are going to still be able to get in earlier than some of the other folks and watch the Twins take batting practice. It's just one of those things that Major League Baseball teams, some of the teams are off base, and this was off base for the Twins yesterday, and Major League Baseball, to me, still off base with a lot of things. I know there's some great baseball fans. I'm a baseball fan. Major League Baseball still off base with a lot of things. That's a story for another day, a topic for another show. When you think about Major League Baseball and all the things that they could improve, we're already seeing some calls, some controversy in the first couple of weeks. Already seeing some of this stuff, and they won't take instant replay any further. They need to. They will not cut down the regular season. They need to. They need to bring a sense of urgency when it comes to the playoffs. You know, if you cut down the regular season just a little bit, yeah, I know the owners do not want to lose money, believe me. And that's the reason you're getting charged for batting practice. The owners don't want to lose money, so they don't want to cut it down extreme. You got to cut it down a little bit. And we'll be talking about it later on in October, in September, October. If you cut it down just a couple of weeks, a few weeks, the playoff scenario is going to be so much better. There's just a lot of things that baseball needs to do, and it's not as popular as it used to be. It came back. Now it's declining again. TV ratings declining. Season ticket holders at teams declining. Ticket sales declining. They got to start figuring out a little bit. They got to start figuring it out a little bit, and they're not. Speaking of baseball, really quickly, before we get to Colton Iverson coming up next, high school baseball here in the Black Hills was off to a great start. We had dry weather, warm weather. High school baseball gets going in late March, basically. Everything was fine, and now, of course, you look outside, and how are they going to start playing? Well, they're going to have to take a couple of breathers. It's just a tough scenario. We've talked about it before. There's people on both sides of the fence. Is high school baseball in South Dakota feasible? And I'm one of the guys that says, yes, it is. Don't worry about a big snowstorm like this. Yes, it's going to take them out of practice. It's going to take maybe some games off the schedule, but the fact is, let them deal with it. We shouldn't have to worry about, well, South Dakota high school baseball is never going to catch on because of the weather. You just don't get enough games, all this and that. Let them handle it, the high school baseball coaches and the folks and the players. I'm all about giving kids an opportunity. I've heard the argument, it's taking away from track and field. Yes, it is, but the fact is, I'm about giving kids a choice, an opportunity. I think high school baseball is a new sport here in South Dakota. It gives players an opportunity to get ready maybe for that Legion season. That's what some folks are able to use it for. And I think you give kids a choice, you give them an opportunity, and high school baseball has really, really exploded. I mean, it's exploding at the small schools, at the bigger school. Participation has gone through the roof. And I know the weather is a factor. It's always going to be. Let them worry about it. We don't have to. Good luck to you, folks. I'm telling you, high school baseball season just got trimmed down a little bit to the last couple of days. We're coming back talking to Colton Iverson, getting the show started right with an NBA prospect, an honorable mention All-American from Colorado State, formerly of Yankton. The big guy, Colton Iverson, the CSU Ram, joining us next. It's SD Sports Buzz tonight with Nate Brown.
For delicious food and lots of fun, quench more than your thirst at Thirsties.
Anytime's a good time for a great time at Thirsties. Come on down to Thirsties on Wednesday night and test your knowledge with Battle of the Brains trivia and enjoy a delicious meal off that world-famous Thirsties menu. Thirsties, 819 Main, downtown.
Come on in and quench more than your thirst at Thirsties. Sure tastes good.
It's always something, that's for sure.
Your homeowner's policy covers a lot, but it may not cover your most valuable possessions.
My baseball card collection.
Talk to us. We'll make sure your homeowner's policy covers the things you value most. Fisher Rounds & Associates Insurance. It's always something.
It's always something. something.
Fisher Rounds and Associates, Rapid City. Phone 737-7865.
Every week, you hear something in the news about low interest rates, and some of the talk can be downright confusing or even misleading. How do you separate the hype from the truth? Call Premier Home Mortgage. They can help you refinance your home or help you with that credit card debt. And they'll break it down for you in terms we can all understand and not mumbo jumbo. Give Premier Home Mortgage a call right now at 716-7373 or go online to premierhomemortgage.com. Premier Home Mortgage. Fast, simple, and smart.
With winter finally here, wouldn't it be nice to have the assurance of an all-wheel drive car? But what about gas prices? Subaru has you covered. Get the road-gripping traction of symmetrical all-wheel drive with up to 36 miles per gallon in the Impreza. If you need more room and more ground clearance, check out the Outback with 8.7 inches of clearance, cargo capacity to rival many SUVs, and 30 miles per gallon highway. Why compromise? See the most fuel-efficient lineup of cars in America at Courtesy Subaru at the corner of Omaha and La Crosse Streets or at courtesysubaru.com.
And 200, 2 and a quarter, 2 to the bid, 150, want to get 250 here, no 75, 275 now, 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Sold it here for $575.
Leaving home out on the road, I've been down before. Riding along on this big old jet plane, I've been thinking about my home. But my love life seems so far away, and I feel like it's all been done. Somebody's trying to make me stay, you know I've got to be moving on. Oh, big old jet.
South Dakota Sports Talk Show back on 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, Kim Talk Radio, Rapid City's talk station. Streaming online in HD, we welcome you in watching on South Dakota's #1 sports website, sdsportsbuzz.com. Busy show tonight, NBA scout Chris Danker coming up. Chris Danker with netscoutsbasketball.com straight ahead. Speaking of basketball, a good way to get the show started. Joining us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line, Colton Iverson, former Yankton great. And I said it when I opened the show. This is a guy who had an unbelievable high school career, did an outstanding job at Minnesota, and then had to set out a year when he transferred to Colorado State, came back with a vengeance in his final year this past year, and was just named an honorable mention All-American down at Colorado State. And first team All-Mountain West, Colton Iverson, back on the program. We haven't talked to him a while. Colton, it's good to talk to you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You just told me through the phone that you're in Las Vegas. You're working out. What's going on right now?
Yeah, just about a week ago I signed with an agent, and they got a place out here that just a bunch of athletes come to train for the draft, and I've been here for half a week, and I plan on staying here till about mid-June, up until about a week before the draft.
Okay, so you got to give me a feel for this now. Las Vegas, I mean, come on, there's a lot of distractions there going on. What, are you getting enough work in? What's going on?
Oh, yeah, I'm at the gym 6 to 7 hours a day. I'm getting plenty of work in. Staying at a nice place, got a full kitchen and everything, so it's going good so far.
Very nice, very nice. Colton Iverson, an NBA prospect, former Colorado State Ram, Minnesota Golden Gopher, and, of course, Yankton Buck back in the day, just finished up his college career. What's this process been like? You just said you signed with an agent. Now you have to move forward, work out. You're going to be looked at by all these NBA teams as the draft approaches. What's the process been like personally for you going through all the stuff that you got to get handled before draft day, basically?
There's a lot of things you got to do. First of all, you got to focus on getting better and being in the best shape of your life, and just continuing to get better every day and working on your weaknesses. And that's what I'm doing out here in Vegas. And then, that's the reason you hire an agent, to take care of all the business part. He's been communicating with teams, just focusing and finding out what we need to do and where we need to be at and what teams to work out with. And I mean, he's been doing a great job for me. We communicate daily, and it's just it's gone very smooth so far.
Colton Iverson joining us tonight on SD Sports Buzz tonight here with Nate Brown on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. For all the folks that saw you in high school, including myself, and then we've watched you over the years at Minnesota first and then this past year at Colorado State, for all the folks that are familiar with you, when you go back to your high school career, you were obviously one of the best players we've seen over the past decade here in South Dakota. Did you think it would be a possibility through all the challenges, all the things you've had to endure, that you could be an NBA guy from the start? Did you think that was something you could achieve?
I mean, I definitely had my doubts at certain times, but I set my expectations high for myself, and I knew I wasn't achieving my maximum potential at Minnesota, and I felt I had a lot of room for improvement, and I took kind of a big risk leaving Minnesota after 3 years, but I definitely I just worked really hard in my year off, and I felt it really paid off, and I took advantage of it.
Well, you had an unbelievable year at Colorado State. Not only the Rams, you guys did an outstanding job through the Mountain West Conference in a very competitive conference. They got a lot of teams in the tournament. You obviously made the tournament, got knocked out earlier than you wanted to, but you just got named an honorable mention All-American amongst the great players in the country, first team All-Mountain West. When I go back, I know you don't want to look back, but looking back at your time at Minnesota, what happened there, Colton? Why do you think things didn't quite go the way you wanted there later in your career?
I mean, they had plenty of great players, especially at my position and the power forward. So there's a lot of competition for playing time, and I felt, it was kind of a mutual thing. I felt it was best for both parties if I just transferred. Then Ralph Sampson III would know he was the main guy there instead of us splitting playing time and not really knowing whose role is what on each game night. And because it's tough, coming off the bench and then for Ralph splitting time with me while he's starting. So So I announced I was transferring, and I just tried finding a school where I'd fit in best and where I could definitely be like a leader on the team and just maximize my potential.
Well, you definitely became that. Colton Iverson, former Colorado State Ram, now getting ready for the NBA. He's trying to mix it up, get some teams looking at him, working out in Las Vegas right now. Joins us on SD Sports Buzz tonight. You talk about now going from Minnesota to Colorado State. You were definitely a leader on this Colorado State club, but if I'm not mistaken, you went down there. We talked to you right before you were going down to Colorado State. Tim Miles was down there, a guy that you were familiar with, a guy that recruited you out of high school. He was down there. Then he leaves. He goes to Nebraska. What was that like for you?
It was definitely a worrisome couple of weeks when I didn't know who my coach was going to be. I took this big risk leaving Minnesota, and then I come here to play for a certain coach, and he heads off to the Big Ten. It was definitely tough, but I knew our athletic director at Colorado State would do a great job hiring a new coach, and he did. He hired Coach Stacey, who's been National Coach of the Year, and he's won at every school he's been at. So I knew if I just worked hard and bought into everything he told me, we would have a great year and we'd be successful, and we did.
What was Larry Eustachy like to play for? What type of coach is he? Why do you think he has been a National Coach of the Year?
He's a great coach for all the right reasons. He focuses really on rebounding and defense and playing physical, and that's exactly how I would like to play basketball, and I think it's how basketball should be played. So, we saw eye to eye from day one, and he saw potential in me, and he came in and worked me out every day. And, he made me bring it every day in practice, too. And, he really brought the best basketball out in me this year. Even though I only had him for coaches 1 year, I definitely felt that he was up there with one of the best coaches in the country.
Colton, I'm not an NBA scout, but as I've watched you, a great rebounder. You're good fundamentally down low. You've even gotten stronger yet quicker. I believe you're able to get up and down the floor. That's what I've seen. What are you hearing when it comes to guys evaluating your game? What do you need to do to get better to be an NBA guy?
There's always a lot of things that people see in you. But as of right now, I've been really focusing on continuing to get better footwork and my explosiveness. hasn't always been the greatest, but it's something that we work on every day. And, I mean, that's why we train. I'm training about 6 hours a day right now. And I feel like by the time the draft comes up, I'll be in the best shape of my life, physically and mentally.
Do you feel you got to hit on the NBA game so athletic? These guys are athletic. They can jump out of the gym. They're very fast, even on the interior. Do you feel your quickness and your mid-range game needs to get better? Do you think you can improve your mid-range game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just today I got done with an hour-and-a-half shooting drill, all mid-range jumpers, and my mid-range game is coming along very nice right now. And I've only been out here for a week I mean, just continuing working on everything. Quickness is obviously something people think I lack, but, I mean, I've played with some of the best players in college, and I think I'm right there with them athletically, and I think I've definitely got room for improvement, which is always a positive.
Colton Iverson on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Just a couple more for him. He's in Las Vegas getting training for the NBA draft. You were just ranked. A lot of attention here in South Dakota. Obviously, you have been on the South Dakota scene for a while, so everybody talks about Nate Walters, the great guard at South Dakota State. But I just pointed out on the program that Nate Walters just ranked by CBS as number 79 on the NBA board. You're 15 spots ahead, at least according to CBS's points, at number 64. So Colton Iverson getting set to get into the NBA. I want to talk to you about this. You've been a big-time college player in two different programs now, at Minnesota, at Colorado State. You've probably heard, probably seen the situation out at Rutgers with that coach and his aggressive style of coaching, to say the least. What is a typical practice at big-time college program like? It's not all hunky-dory. It's not all flowers and everything. I understand that. I've seen it too. But when you saw that and the experiences you went through, how does it compare?
I mean, definitely I've never had any practices like I saw in that footage. But every coach has their different ways. Some are more laid back and positive. Some are more kind of in your face, trying to irritate you a little bit just to get the best out of you, though. It's all for the better. But, I mean, yeah, I've definitely never had any coach kick me or anything.
Or throw the ball at you or anything, huh?
Yeah, definitely not.
Nothing like that. Before I let you run, who was your favorite NBA team growing up, man?
I would always have to say the Minnesota Timberwolves, especially when they had Kevin Garnett back in the day. I just grew up watching them. It was always close to home, and especially when KG was there, it was a fun team to watch.
Yeah, I know it. Well, you're not obviously going to get to pick, right? They're going to have to pick you. And when you think about this possibility, when you think about this opportunity, what goes through your mind when you get drafted? You obviously want to make an NBA roster. That's first and foremost. Has anything else crossed your mind about, if things don't work out at the NBA right away, as far as D-League or internationally? Have you thought about that at all, or is it full steam ahead for the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously full steam ahead for the NBA, but you wouldn't be doing your job if you didn't have a plan B. And me and my agent have went over several scenarios, and we definitely feel that Europe and overseas would be a good plan B for me. There's plenty of options over there and great basketball with just as many opportunities over there.
Colton, I think you can. I think you can be that guy. It's been an unbelievable stride ever since Yankton back in the day. Folks in Rapid City, seeing you in the AA tournament out here in your final year. I had the fortunate opportunity to call your games, the last 3 games for you, and at Minnesota to Colorado State. Unbelievable career. Wish you the best of luck here over the next month, and hopefully we'll be in touch down the road. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate that. Colton Iverson, former Minnesota Golden Gopher, Colorado State Ram, number 64 on CBS's big board when it comes to top NBA prospects. And I wanted to point that out because that kind of puts it in perspective. A lot of folks think Nate Walters might be an NBA guy. Some folks are saying, if defensively he's just not quite there when it comes to quickness defensively for the NBA. A lot of people are putting him as an international guy. Colton Iverson's 15 spots ahead of him, number 64, according to CBS. So Colton Iverson just kind of forgotten about, I think, a little bit on the South Dakota scene anyway. Yankton, South Dakota guy, Final 3 games of his high school career was played right here at the Civic Center. I remember watching him last 3 games. He was a man amongst boys, really, really solid in high school, and just got better and better as we've seen these players do. Over at Minnesota, took a risk, played 3 years, took a risk to transfer to Colorado State, had to sit out a year, came back, was just named first team All-Mountain West, and that is nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, Mountain West Conference basketball has taken unbelievable advances as far as competitiveness, great teams. They got, I think they were second for as many teams in the NCAA tournament, second conference in line for the most teams in the NCAA tournament. And he was first-team Mountain West, honorable mention, All-American as well. Good to get him on the program on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. We'll take a timeout. Nate Roderick coming up, a National High School Coaches Association national champion when it comes to wrestling. Nate Roderick in maybe one of the biggest tournaments yet out in Chicago. We'll talk to him about it. Also tonight, Chris Denker, NBA scout, want to get his thoughts on Colton Iverson and recap the college basketball season as well. First, Craig Mattick, KWSN Sioux Falls Sports Radio, up next.
At Mel's Auto Body, we are committed to providing complete customer satisfaction through our repairs, competitive prices, and old-fashioned personalized service. This is Kevin Rohrbach. For 25 years, our family has been dedicated to returning your vehicle to its like-new condition. We use state-of-the-art equipment, highly trained techs, and work with all insurance companies to get the job done right, 100% guaranteed. Remember, you have the right to choose your body shop. We hope you choose Mel's Auto Body, located under the Big Red M on South Valley Drive in Rapid City. Check us out online at melsautobody.com.
You've got it locked on South Dakota's sports talk show, SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters. Listen to what Pro Auto Care customers have to say.
You definitely can trust Tom and Carl and Chris. They are very good mechanics. They always do what's best for their customers and their customers' vehicles. They will always let you know the problems completely before they do any work on your vehicle. And since I've met Tom, I won't take my car anyplace but Pro Auto Care.
Pro Auto Care. Phone 342-0857, 1891 Rand Road, Rapid City.
For delicious food and lots of fun, quench more than your thirst at Thirsties.
Anytime's a good time for a great time at Thirsties. Come on down to Thirsties on Wednesday night and test your knowledge with Battle of the Brains trivia and enjoy a delicious meal off that world-famous Thirsties menu. Thirsties, 819 Main, downtown.
Come on in and quench more than your thirst at Thirsties. Sure tastes good.
It's always something.
Running a company, it's always something, especially insuring company cars and trucks.
Boss, the truck broke down.
Well, then use the other truck.
You're driving the other truck.
Oh.
We can find you ways to save on older company vehicles. Come talk to us. Fisher Rounds & Associates Insurance. It's always something.
It's always something.
Fisher Rounds & Associates, Rapid City. Phone 737-7865.
I was going to make some plans for later on tonight, too, but then my wife said, you got to shovel off our driveway and snow blow our sidewalk. And I'm still doing that. I wanted to take a couple hours out, though, tonight. Wanted to take a couple-hour break. So come rain, shine, snow, 3 feet of snow, 5-foot drifts. It doesn't matter. We're getting in. We're getting in for the program. SD Sports Buzz tonight, back on this Wednesday. Glad you're a part of it. 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, Kim Talk Radio. Also online in HD, watching at sdsportsbuzz.com. Welcome in. Busy show tonight. Just talked to Colton Iverson. This is a good guy to talk to. Always a good guy. Great player, a great high school player, and I think had a better college career than many people even predicted. I mean, out of high school, people always say that here in South Dakota, and you know those folks. They always say, "Oh, is this guy? He's going to go to Minnesota?" Oh, come on. We undershoot ourselves here. We really do in South Dakota. We even our own guys. We always say, "Oh, he's going to be in Minnesota. Oh, he didn't have that great of a state tournament. Oh, he wasn't that dominant." Mike Miller, remember back in the day? Oh, Mike Miller. Oh, I don't know. He's pretty good, but he's going to go to Florida? Yeah, and then he's going to become the freshman of the year and the rookie of the year in the NBA. I mean, nobody expected this, and I heard that about Colton Iverson, too. He's going to go to Minnesota. Oh, I don't know. It played right away, was very good right away, and then things kind of got a little dicey, had to share some playing time, didn't have a great third year, decided to head out. And then he's an honorable mention All-American, first-team All-Mountain West in a great basketball conference this past year, and now number 64 on the board when it comes to CBS's rankings for NBA prospects. Just talk to Colton Iverson. And remember, if you miss anybody tonight, go to sdsportsbuzz.com. We archive the interviews. You can catch them at your own convenience. Coming up, All-American wrestler Nate Roeder, a national champion, a two-time national champion for the Coaches Association, going to go to a huge tournament, maybe the biggest yet. First South Dakotan to ever compete in this tournament, just outside of Chicago. Nate Roeder from Spearfish, future South Dakota State Jackrabbit, coming up. But first, out east, we got the snow, and we got it in a big way. They now got some snow, but they got a freezing ice storm. We've heard about it. And when I was back in Watertown during the girls' State A tournament, we got a little ice storm out there, and it's nothing as bad as what they just experienced out in Sioux Falls. Out in Sioux Falls, KWSN Sports Radio host Craig Mattick back on the program. Craig, good to talk to you. How are you?
Tell you what, it is amazing. I mean, state of emergency in Sioux Falls. Yeah. I've been in Sioux Falls since the late 80s. I've never seen anything like this. We took a big hit with this ice storm with trees snapping. I know there's a bunch of power poles outside of Sioux Falls with some of the electric co-ops that have snapped off, and of course power lines have snapped off. We've had 35,000 without power, and of course now we're going to get 6 to 7 to 10 inches of snow tonight and tomorrow, and that's got a lot of the folks here in the Sioux Falls area really nervous because, even the mayor today said, don't be surprised when you wake up tomorrow morning, you may not have power. So it's been a really interesting 36 hours here in town.
Yeah, very serious. I mean, like I just said, the past couple of days out here, we just got pounded with snow and wind, blizzard conditions, everything pretty much shut down the past couple of days here in Rapid City. The storm has since moved out, but you guys getting hit with the ice storm, this is, it's really serious stuff. Are you not one of those 35,000 without power? You got power, you're good to go?
No, in my neighborhood, where what kind of a guy I am at, a little of the higher end, I don't have. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, I've been lucky. Our neighborhood has been okay. I mean, there's folks just about 18 blocks from me. They have not had power since 8 o'clock yesterday morning. It's been spotty on and off, but so far, the power's been on here in this part of the neighborhood, but you know what? There's been a lot of other people affected by the outage, and I know the power folks and the rescue personnel, like out there too. Your guys out there trying to clear the roads. Our hats are off to all those men and women who make it a little easier for us.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's been a tough couple of days out here. It's getting even tougher on you guys back there. Really quickly, Dakota Schooler CEO Paul Seville. I was going to have him on the show tonight. He's like, man, I have hardly any charge on my phone. He says it's 40 degrees in my house. He's one of those guys without the power. That's not a good scenario back there. So, by the way, Paul Seville not coming on tonight. We'll try and get him next week. How about you? Did you guys do sports talk with Craig and Chris? I mean, I'm on the air tonight. How about you guys?
Yeah, we did it. We were our studios are located right in downtown Sioux Falls, and at about 11 o'clock this morning, all downtown went down. Of course, we did have some backup generators where we were able to stay on the air, but then about an hour later, everything else came back on. So, yeah, we were lucky today. We've been able to get our job done, and we still did a sports talk show today, but yet also inform the folks of the Sioux Falls area of all the stuff that's coming and what you should be doing. I mean, they even have shelters open in town tonight for those that don't have power. There is a phone company that's offering free phone charging. If you go to their store, they'll charge you your cell phones for free if you don't have power. I mean, it's worked out real well here. And the main thing tonight, and here's the deal: there are still so many tree branches in the streets covering so many neighborhoods that when the plows have to try to plow away 7 to 10 inches of snow, they're not going to be able to do it. So it's going to be an even bigger mess. It may be one of those things where we're just letting Mother Nature handle the melting and everything once the warmer weather gets here this weekend.
Yeah, final question about the weather, and then we'll move on to sports. I've always found it this way, as I've been a sports talk host over the years, and you've done it even longer than I have. When there's serious stuff going on, we're still radio guys. You want to get the information out to the public. You want to take things very seriously in situations that are dire. But then it's also one of those things where people kind of want a little sports talk. They want a little fun. How do you play it? It's always a challenge for me.
Well, what we try to do is, whatever the people are talking about, we deal with it right away. Like today, we spent a lot of about the first 15 minutes getting all the crucial information out, and then after that, we said, hey, if you need more information, you go to the City of Sioux Falls website, you go to our website, there's the information, and then say, hey, coming up, we talked with a guy who is a sports writer for the St. Cloud Times. He used to be at the Mitchell Daily Republic, and Andy Renicky is now covering the St. Cloud State Huskies in the Frozen Four. So we talked to him out in Pittsburgh, and so we still did sports talk, but yet intermingled that in with the stuff that the people of the city are thinking about and talking about.
Yeah, that's the way it's got to go, because people still want they want the information, they need the information. We need to show our appreciation for everybody doing it, and we want to have a little fun with sports talk, want to stay light, stay relaxed. People want that as well. Craig Mattick from Sioux Falls in a tough situation out there. Ice storm, now snow, state of emergency out there in Sioux Falls. He joins us, though. Oh, man, you've made it through the state of emergency.
Nate?
Yeah.
The mall is still open, so you can still come on over and spend your money with
Oh, okay. Did you guys get a Banana Republic yet? I mean, I've always... You don't know, okay. I mean, you got such great shopping in Sioux Falls. That's why we all want to come out there.
If it isn't Penny's, who I would have no idea.
Yeah, believe me. Craig Mattick on in Sioux Falls, making it through the state of emergency. Here we go. I want to talk to you about this, couple things on the sports side of it. Chad Statham, head coach at Howard, went to the state championship. Same story at Flandreau. Now Chad Statham takes over when there's an end of an era. Brian Hermanson done at Sioux Falls, Washington, and the Warriors have been to the state title game 6 straight years in the football category. And the new head football coach is Chad Statham. What do you think about this hire? He's going to be teaching there, obviously, and now as head coach, a different level, but he's had success.
Yes, he has, and I like the pick, and it makes sense. Chad Statham was going to go to Watertown last year. He took the job at Watertown, but then the next day said, you know what, something has come up with the family, and so he didn't take the job, and he said that was best. So he stayed with Flandreau, and so then this job comes up, and in fact he said his wife was the one that told him, yeah, you have to apply this one. This one fits you. And when you look at Chad Statham, Nate, guys who are made to be head coaches. There are assistant coaches out there who probably should stay assistants, and I think this is where it was in this system. Some people have talked about, well, there were some assistants that have been there a long time at Washington. Maybe they should get their chance. You know what I see is they able to find a guy who can be a leader, has been a head coach, who gets it and has had success, and so I really like it. And that Statham family, what is there, five siblings in that family, and they're all coaching. And their dad was a great guy who coached as well. It runs in their blood, and I think Chad Statham is going to do just fine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because Brian Hermanson has been a great coach. Do you think Brian Hermanson gets back into the fold after he watches his son play? And you think Brian Hermanson's coming back? He kind of told me on the show that it wouldn't surprise him if he got back in.
I don't think it'll be at Washington, but I think he will be back. I certainly believe he will. He is not. This fall is going to be so tough for him because that's all he's done over these years. He was a defensive coordinator for the Sioux Falls Storm with indoor football before he got the job at Washington. He was doing stuff at Roosevelt as an assistant for a long time. He is a guy that needs to coach and should be coaching, and I think he will be back in a couple of years after he watches his son play at Montana.
Craig Mattick, KWSN Sioux Falls Sports Radio on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line here with Nate Brown on SD Sports Buzz tonight. I want to get your thoughts on some of the advisory committee stuff from the South Dakota High School Activities Association just a couple of weeks ago, trying to bring a shot clock into Class A and Class B. In A, it looks like it's going to happen. In B, the activities directors voted it down. Where do you stand on it?
I am so much into uniformity. Whatever we do in one class, we should be doing in the other. Whatever we're doing in Major League Baseball, whether it's the designated hitter or not, it should be uniform. Shot clock in college basketball, the women don't have the 10-second line. The men have a 10-second line to get it across court. When it comes to basketball, in football, we get the mercy rule, except in the double A's, we can't have that. When it comes to the shot clock, we do it in the uppers. But you know what? I want uniformity. I want us doing it all. And the only reason why the Bs aren't going to do it, it's money. Pure and simple. I think if you look at it in the long run, everything should have a shot clock. We should also have 18-minute halves. I would take 16-minute halves, but we should have the shot clock in all divisions, and we should work on it to get that done.
Why do you want the halves?
I think the game flows much better. Some of the Sioux Falls teams that go into Minnesota during the year, they go up there, and of course in Minnesota they play the halves. And when they come back, they say that you're right, the halves, the game flows much better, we're not always stopping. We're always stopping for something when it comes to high school basketball. It's quarters. Let's play halves, and let's play. You talk to coaches who have done it, they love it.
By the way, I wanted the shot clock all the way around as well. I think the Bs will get there sometime if they can get everybody. It's the money issue, and there's more Class B coaches that aren't quite on board. They kind of like the stall game if their talent isn't as good. They kind of like that scenario. So I think they'll get there eventually, and I think we're going to get it in Class A right away, hopefully. And then how about this mercy rule? They were thinking about doing, if you're 35 points up or more in the fourth quarter, it's going to be a running clock. I didn't want to see that, but where did you want to go?
I think this is the reverse of the shot clock. This one here, the mercy rule, it is really looked at in the B division, especially in the girls' side. There are so many games where you will see total blowouts, 82-12. You will see 100-20. We've seen that a lot. You've seen that in the LNI. I think there was a lot of people pointing to some of those instances, and it happens a lot more in the B division than any other class. I think that's where they were looking to have the mercy rule. I don't think we need it in the double A's. It rarely happens, and I don't think we need it in the A's as well. You know what? I don't think we really need the mercy rule in basketball. If the Activities Association or coaches think it's a serious problem, and I think it's specifically looking at Class B, they should look at it, but I don't think we need it.
No, I don't either. Quarters, by the way, we are in quarters. We're not in halves yet like Craig Mattick wants, so we are in quarters, and the fourth quarter doesn't take very long anyway. Players get some playing time, get some experience. I don't think it takes very long. I mean, come on, it's not football. Come on.
Well, I'm just saying that there are times, though, where the coaches do not bring in the substitutes. They will play them a lot longer.
Well, that's true, but you can't stop that, right? I mean, you can't. Even if it's running clock, they're still going to keep their players in.
I will always remember Fred Tibbetts at Roosevelt. He says, if you don't like what we're doing, just stop us. That's all you got to do.
That's kind of how it rolls. Craig Mattick, KWSN. Be safe out there. Hope you continue to survive with power and everything, and hopefully everything gets better for everybody else. I appreciate you taking some time.
Well, you guys got a bunch of snow. You guys be safe as well, and by golly, you and I will be playing golf before you know it.
You better believe it. Thanks, Craig.
All right. See you, Nate.
Craig Mattick, KWSN, Sioux Falls Sports Radio. Hosts the show every day out there in Sioux Falls on KWSN.com. We're coming back talking to a national champion, one of South Dakota's best, and the first South Dakotan to compete in this elite tournament. Spearfish's Nate Roeder joining SD Sports Buzz tonight next.
Every week you hear something in the news about low interest rates, and some of the talk can be downright confusing or even misleading. How do you separate the hype from the truth? Call Premier Home Mortgage. They can help you refinance your home or help you with that credit card debt. And they'll break it down for you in terms we can all understand and not mumbo jumbo. Give Premier Home Mortgage a call right now at 716-7373 or go online to premierhomemortgage.com. Premier Home Mortgage. Fast, simple, and smart.
With winter finally here, wouldn't it be nice to have the assurance of an all-wheel drive car? But what about gas prices? Subaru has you covered. Get the road-gripping traction of symmetrical all-wheel drive with up to 36 miles per gallon in the Impreza. If you need more room and more ground clearance, check out the Outback with 8.7 inches of clearance, cargo capacity to rival many SUVs, and 30 miles per gallon highway. Why compromise? See the most fuel-efficient lineup of cars in America at Courtesy Subaru at the corner of Omaha and La Crosse Streets or at courtesysubaru.com.
At Mel's Auto Body, we are committed to providing complete customer satisfaction through our repairs, competitive prices, and old-fashioned personalized service. This is Kevin Rohrbach. For 25 years, our family has been dedicated to returning your vehicle to its like-new condition. We use state-of-the-art equipment, highly trained techs, and work with all insurance companies to get the job done right, 100% guaranteed. Remember, you have the right to choose your body shop. We hope you choose Mel's Auto Body, located under the Big Red M on South Valley Drive in Rapid City. Check us out online at melsautobody.com.
And 200, 2 and a quarter, 2 to the bid, 20 bomb, 50, money, get 250 here, no 75, 275 now, 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Sold it here for $575.
Real South Dakota sports talk for real South Dakota sports fans. This is SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
I know it from the start. Baby, when you broke my heart, that I had to come again and show you that I win.
It's SD Sports Buzz tonight on SDSportsBuzz.com. Live in HD. You can watch us there. Also right here on 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. Kim Talk Radio, Rapid City's talk station. Welcome in. It's Nate Brown. Just joined us. Craig Mattick out in Sioux Falls. Tough situation out there. I know we've had it tough here, man, all across the Black Hills, digging out from 2, 3 feet, 5-foot drifts. It's been a crazy last couple of days. Craig Mattick out in Sioux Falls. 35,000 people out there without power. An ice storm hit them hard first. Now about 10 inches of snow expected tonight. Tough stuff across South Dakota. Hope everybody's safe. Taking it easy still tonight. We're back on tonight. I wanted to get in here, take a breather from just snow blowing and shoveling. I just wanted to talk a little sports tonight, take a little breather. Talk to Colton Iverson, honorable mention All-American from Colorado State. First team All-Mountain West. Colton Iverson out of Yankton. Went to Minnesota first. Had a good 3 years there. Had to share playing time, though, so got a little tough for him, I think. I think he thought I could probably play and start someplace else, and he ended up doing that. Even had to sit out a year, though. Transferred from Minnesota down to Colorado State, and the rest is history. Just had a great year in the Rams. Went to the NCAA tournament. Got knocked off early on, but Colton Iverson had a great career. Ranked number 64 on the NBA prospect board by CBS Sports. He just joined us earlier tonight as well. Been a busy show. To remember to go to SDSportsBuzz.com. We archive each interview. If you miss anybody, you can catch them tomorrow morning on SDSportsBuzz.com at your own convenience. We're going to talk more hoops with Chris Denker of NetScoutsBasketball.com. NBA scout Chris Denker coming up. But first talking wrestling. Nate Rodert up in Spearfish, the first South Dakotan ever to compete in this elite tournament. It's going to happen just outside of Chicago on April 20th. It's the 17th annual event, Wrestling USA Cliff Keen Athletic Dream Team Classic. The Dream Team Classic coming up. It's basically 13 wrestlers from around the country against 13 wrestlers from the state of Illinois. And Nate Rodert's going to represent Team USA. He joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Nate, it's good to talk to you. How are you in Spearfish? Have you been shoveling snow all day for your parents and everybody?
I would like to say I was, but I was inside under a blanket doing some homework and letting my dad go out there and get that done.
Oh, man, you're killing me, man. You're killing your dad. Come on, is your dad tougher than you or what?
That's where I get my toughness. He's a hard-working guy. He knows how to do it, so I let him go at it.
All right. Well, you got to get the study done, right? I mean, you got to study it up.
That's right, school first. That's right.
Nate Rodert joining us in Spearfish. Of course, I prefaced it talking about this tournament. When you got this opportunity, what did you think right away when you heard about this?
Well, right away, the date was put forth as April 20th, and that's our prom. And to be honest, my first thought was, yes, I don't have to go to prom. So
is that right?
That was my first thought, and then the next one was I kind of did my research and I realized how big of a deal it was, and I was pretty excited about it. And called some of my close family members, obviously my immediate family, my parents, and everything, and talked stuff out. And it wasn't a big decision whether to do it or not. I was going to do it right away because it's once in a lifetime opportunity. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations on doing it. Nate Rodert's going to be competing in the Wrestling USA Cliff Keen Athletic Dream Team Classic in Elmhurst, Illinois. Again, 13 wrestlers from around the country against 13 wrestlers from one of the top wrestling states in the country there in Illinois. He'll be competing later this month. He joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Now, I don't know how many of these opportunities you've received. This is a big one, but I'm sure you've had some stuff. You get stuff in the mail. You get stuff at school. Did you get a lot of stuff to where, hey, why don't you compete in this one? Come to this camp. Come to this. How do you determine how to weigh all that stuff out? How do you decide where to go and what to do?
I absolutely get a lot of that stuff. I mean, and there's some of the stuff where you can tell it's not. It's kind of a gimmicky thing, and you can tell by what you're getting and when you talk to people about it. But this is kind of one of the renowned things. There's two different classics: the Dapper Dan Classic, which is the best of USA against Pennsylvania, and then the Dream Team Classic, which it's not just based in Pennsylvania; it's a different state every year, one of those elite states. And I mean, I've got a lot of those things, but I mean, really the only ones that I pursued I'm going to be doing that all-star football in South Dakota, obviously, not as big a deal as the wrestling, but then also this wrestling opportunity. There's a lot of that stuff that comes up, but this is the biggest one by far that I've ever received.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. First South Dakotan ever to compete in this tournament coming up on April 20th. Nate Rodert joins us, National Coaches Association, national champion, of course, state champion here in South Dakota as well. He joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. We talked earlier about your decision to go to South Dakota State. When you found out that, I don't know, what is there, a couple more guys that are going to be at this tournament just outside of Chicago, they're going to be going to South Dakota State as well with you. When you found that out, when you knew about that, is this something that you knew right away that, man, South Dakota State, this wrestling program seems like it's on the up and up?
Oh, well, definitely, and that's I mean, those coaches know how to recruit, and that's one of their big pitches to me was I can be a part of something big. I can go to a story program like some of the Nebraskas and Wyomings and stuff like that, or I can get my home state and try and build something big. And I think everybody in the recruiting class has really bought into that. And I mean, you can tell by the talent that we're putting forth. I mean, we got the guy from New Mexico, Paul Mascarenas, he's a 4-time state champ in New Mexico, and he's been having some national success just like me, and he's invited to this tournament. And then at 113 pounds, and we have Colin Haller from Illinois, who's going to be wrestling on the opposite team as us. But I mean, it really shows that we have committed guys, and we really do have talent coming in. So it's, I mean, I don't think it's a gimmick by any means. I think in the next couple of years, once we start putting that SDSU single on, we'll have some good teams putting forth. So
yeah, it sure sounds like it. I mean, you've got that talent, a guy from New Mexico coming up, a multi-state champion. You yourself here from South Dakota, a state champion. So I kind of get that, why you maybe went to South Dakota State. How do you think South Dakota State's attracted these other guys?
Well, I mean, definitely. I mean, I'm not sure what everybody's specific situation is, but I mean, money is always a factor. So I'm not sure. I mean, what everybody's specific situation is, but then that, along with, I mean, Coach Bono, Coach Silva, and Coach Sorensen, they all know how to recruit, and that's, I mean, they know how to make you feel wanted. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, you feel that they're going to stay true to that, and there's a lot of good things going on up there. I mean, there's the Big Ten programs that talk to everybody, and there's some big stuff going on there too as well. A lot of story programs, prestigious stuff going on, but I mean, to have the opportunity to build something together and get your education paid for at the same time at my in-state school, it wasn't hard for me. But I mean, some of those guys, I mean, it's kind of just a chain reaction. Once you hear one guy signs, and another guy signs, and another guy signs, and you figure out it's a real deal. So you want to jump on board. I mean, I've been keeping up to date, and we're getting a lot of kids just walking on, and a lot of people going to SDSU and asking to be on the team because they're seeing how much good stuff we have going on there. So we're having a lot of good stuff going on at SDSU.
Spearfish state champion wrestler, all-state football player, Nate Roeder, joining us on the Mills Auto Body Sports Line here with Nate Brown on SD Sports Buzz tonight. Let's talk about this classic one more time out there near Chicago coming up later this month. When you go to competitions like this, you've already went around the country. You've won you've been a national champion with the National Coaches High School Association. So you've already had these experiences. Now you've got this specific one. What does this do for you when you go to compete in tournaments like this? What does it do for you professionally, athletically? What does this do for you when you go to these big things?
Well, I mean, it gives you the experience that and the mindset that you've experienced the big stages. And I mean, I've been around the country, and I mean, nothing's going to surprise me. And it definitely helps you to handle those pressure situations, such as when I come back for the state tournament. I mean, nothing against it, but I mean, it seems microscopic compared to some of the stages that I've been on throughout the summer and different national tournaments. So it prepares you in different ways with your mindset and different things like that, and it helps you deal with pressure. I mean, there's constant pressure on you when you're in the spotlight, but it helps you deal with that and kind of disperse it in different directions and allow you to just go out there and wrestle. So it prepares you in more ways. It's not really, I mean, physically, it's not going to help you out. I mean, you have to be in the weight room and in the practice room and critique yourself that way, but I mean, mentally, it really helps you, I mean, in that aspect of it. So.
Yeah, I believe it. That's probably the biggest block right there, getting an opportunity to do something like this to get you over the top mentally. I'm sure when you come back to South Dakota, you mentioned it. Let's say you're going to come back, you're going to be wrestling in a state tournament in South Dakota, obviously a little bit smaller of a scale, but still that's been your ultimate goal. You start there, winning a state title, then you've won around the country, you've won nationally as well. You mentioned it, and I want to get your perspective about the state tournament, the state wrestling tournament here in South Dakota. It's been combined, it's been separated. When you've been a part of that combined in one spot, the classes, is that the best scenario? I want to get your perspective on that.
Well, I mean, I would definitely be for it. I mean, there's always the argument, and at times it's just a funny, like, poking at each other argument, who's better, the A's and the B's, and it's kind of just a little rivalry thing, but really, I mean, every year there's that argument, and I mean, no one ever knows. I mean, if you put it together, I mean, I think the state itself will get a lot more respect. I mean, you look at states like California, and kids are getting recruited as 4- and 5-star recruits just for being state qualifiers, because that whole state is one state tournament. And, I mean, if we combine the A's and the B's, I mean, definitely, I mean, we have 2 nationally ranked guys in my weight class with me and Eugene Martin. I mean, luckily this year I had the chance to wrestle Eugene, so we could see who was the better wrestler at that point in time. I'm sure, I mean, any day he could beat me, any day I could beat him. I just happened to beat him that day. But, I mean, not every weight class gets that opportunity to wrestle each other. So I think the top guys, I mean, there's always in the back of your mind, I mean, am I the best in the state at my weight class? And if we combine them, I mean, there would be no question that you'd be the champion in the state, hands down. So, I mean, I would definitely be for it. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that are like, I want to win state in just the A's because I'm not sure if I can in a combined weight class. But, I mean, for the guys seeking a challenge, I mean, I would definitely for combining it. So
yeah, it would be interesting. I think a lot of the fans would find that one to be very interesting as well. I want to get your thoughts here, Nate, on the coach, the football coach. You were obviously a great football player and going to move on to college playing in wrestling, but you played football for Bruce Brzee. He steps aside. What'd you think when you heard that?
I heard it, probably a couple of days after everybody else heard it, to be honest. I wasn't really around it. And, Bruce doesn't need to prove himself anymore. He's been around the football circuit at many different schools in the state in many different positions, and he's done a lot for a lot of different kids, and I have so much respect for him as a coach and just as a man. He's done a lot for me just for what I've known him the 4 years I played for him, whether it's in the weight room, in the off season. He's always seeking to help kids, and he won't be done. I'm sure he'll be around the program helping out as much as he can in a voluntary way, but I have the utmost respect for him in that aspect, because he's really for the kids all the time and just trying to make us better young men. So the last 2 years that I spent with him, he let, like our senior class, he really led us to do some big things. We didn't accomplish what we ultimately wanted to do, but we had a really good time doing it with Coach Brzee. So, he had a good run with wherever he went, whatever he did. So he'll still be working with the track team and helping with Spearfish Athletics, and I'm sure they'll be appreciative in that way. So
I know that you were a great football player. You thought about playing football. You're obviously deciding to go with wrestling. How tough was that? Do you ever still think? You're getting ready to play in a football all-star game. So you ever still think you want to put on those pads? How tough was that to choose one sport over the other?
I'm sure next year I'm going to be crying myself to sleep thinking about kids playing football and spearfish and not being able to go out there with them. And it's definitely a hard decision. They're both my loves athletically, and that's what I've grown up doing. And if I could do them both, I would, but to perform at the high level that I want to in one of them, I couldn't do them both. And it was a tough decision, and I think I made the right one. As a wrestler, I control my own destiny. I can go to SDSU, even though it's a smaller school, and build some big stuff there as a team, but also push myself individually, do what I need to do to control my own destiny and accomplish the goals that I set and work through them that way. And as football, I could have gone and played D1 football somewhere, but, we all know that there's D1 football and there's D1 football. And I didn't have any offers from a Nebraska or anything like that for football. It was just kind of like, in-state schools like SDSU and USD, and I have bigger aspirations than to play, and I want to try and be an All-American and try and be a national champion as a wrestler, and I can control that as an individual. And that played a big role. I think I have a lot more upside in my wrestling career, so that and obviously money was a big part of it as well. So there's a lot of factors that went into it, but ultimately the biggest thing is that I think I have more expectancy to be better at wrestling. So
I'll let you run with this. Nate Roeder joining us from Spearfish, All-American. Won the National High School Coaches Association National Championship a couple of times. He's been the national champion and the state champion. I'll let you run with this. What about the Olympic Committee trying to get rid of wrestling here, man, in the Olympics? What's going on with that?
It's unbelievable. And you see how close wrestling is as a community with just the outcry and how, even other sports, other guys are getting involved with it. Just Save Olympic Wrestling is the only thing I can say. It's, a lot of people's dreams were crushed with that coming out. And it's not a for sure thing, and I'm sure we'll get it back. I have no doubt about it. But, there's no professional wrestling, unless you're going into mixed martial arts and that kind of stuff. You have to be crazy to do that. So, there's no professional wrestling for us. That's the biggest stage, and that's a dream for guys like me, is to represent my country in Olympic wrestling. And it's a lofty goal for a lot of kids. We're not getting paid $1 million to go out there. We're working in a wrestling room, in a small square room, losing weight, sweating our butts off, just to represent our country. And it's one of the oldest Olympic sports, so it's pretty unbelievable that it'd be dropped. But I have faith that it'll be back in.
Yeah, I hope to see it. I hope to see you there someday, man. We've seen guys like Randy Lewis from South Dakota here in Rapid City make that stage. Hope to see you there one day. We'll look forward to this coming up on April 20th. Nate Roeder competing in the Wrestling USA Dream Team Classic against Illinois, one of 13 kids around the country to compete just outside of Chicago on April 20th. Get after it, man. Good luck to you. We'll talk to you again.
All right, thanks a lot for having me on.
All right, Nate Roeder tonight on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Good stuff there. Great athlete. from South Dakota in the high school ranks. There's just no doubt about it. Wrestling doesn't get the spotlight, obviously, as much as the two heavy hitters like basketball and football and even baseball, for that note. But I wanted to give Nate Rodert the opportunity to come on because we've got pretty good one right there representing South Dakota just outside of Chicago in that big tournament coming up on April 20th. He joined us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. We'll come back, talk hoops with Chris Denker, NBA scout for NetScoutsBasketball.com next.
Listen to what Pro Auto Care customers have to say.
I go to Tom because he's there for me. I have 7 vehicles on the road on a daily basis, and I know that if something goes on, he'll fix it. He'll fix it right the first time, and if we have an issue with a part, he'll stand behind it. I mean, if we had a part fail that he installed, he'd get the new part and he would install it again, and I'd only pay for it once. Everybody that I know that needs work on their car, I say this is the only place I would go.
Pro Auto Care. Phone 342-0857, 1891 Rand Road, Rapid City.
Anytime's a good time for a great time at Thirsties. Come on down to Thirsties on Wednesday night and test your knowledge with Battle of the Brains trivia and enjoy a delicious meal off that world-famous Thirsties menu. Thirsties, 819 Main, downtown.
Come on in and quench more than your thirst. Thirsties sure tastes good.
It's always something.
You wouldn't take a long drive without checking the oil, gas, fluids, and tires. Maybe you should check your auto insurance, too.
Fill her up? No, just check the deductible.
Talk to your independent agent. We're driven to get you the best rate. Fisher Rounds & Associates Insurance. It's always something.
It's always something.
Fisher Rounds & Associates, Rapid City. Phone 737-7865.
Every week, you hear something in the news about low interest rates, and some of the talk can be downright confusing or even misleading. How do you separate the hype from the truth? Call Premier Home Mortgage. They can help you refinance your home or help you with that credit card debt. And they'll break it down for you in terms we can all understand and not mumbo jumbo. Give Premier Home Mortgage a call right now at 716-7373 or go online to premierhomemortgage.com. Premier Home Mortgage. Fast, simple, and smart.
The best. You can be the King Kong banging on your chest. You can beat the world. You can beat the war. You can talk to God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up. You can beat the clock. Yeah. You can move a mountain. You can break rocks. You can be a master. Don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you go find yourself. Standing in the Hall of Fame.
South Dakota Sports Talk Show back on 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, Kim Talk Radio, Rapid City's talk station. Also online in HD, SDSportsBuzz.com, where you can watch us, South Dakota's #1 sports website. Earlier today, talked to Colton Iverson, honorable mention All-American out of Colorado State. The big Yankton Buck turned into a great college player. He was an all-state player, obviously. 6'9" here in South Dakota, went on to Minnesota, played for Tubby Smith up there. And played really well. Was an all-Big Ten tournament guy. Then transferred out. He was just competing with Ralph Simpson's son up there. So it was kind of a hard thing to do. They were both competing for playing time. So he goes to Colorado State, turns into a first-team All-Mountain West player this past year. Helped the Rams to the NCAA tournament in a very competitive Mountain West Conference. Colton Iverson joined us moments ago. If you miss anybody tonight, you can always catch him at SDSportsBuzz.com. We archive each interview. We list them right there at your own convenience. Just talked to All-American wrestler Nate Rodert. He's the first South Dakotan ever to compete in the Dream Team USA Classic coming up just outside of Chicago. One of 13 wrestlers in the country. He'll compete coming up on April 20th. He just joined us moments ago as well. I'll tell you what, this guy has some weather that we're jealous of right now. Chris Danker, scout for NetScoutsBasketball.com, back on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Chris, I just got to tell you, man, I don't know if you kept an eye on Rapid City, South Dakota, but we have just over 2 feet of snow, right now, and I'm wondering how the weather is in San Jose, California.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry to hear that, Nate.
That just blew you away, didn't it? That just blew your mind.
It sure did. It's we're hovering right around 70 right about now. A little breezy outside, a little breezy, light jacket, but it's pretty nice at 70.
Little breeze. Oh, a light jacket at 70. Wow, a light jacket at 70. That's good stuff. Chris, I want to get your thoughts. First of all, what a championship on Monday night. I mean, I look at this now. I don't know if I overreacted or not, but I'm watching that game, Michigan-Louisville. We expected it could be a good one, but I mean, I'm looking at that championship. That's one of the best championships I've seen in, I don't know, 5-6 years. I mean, we've had some pretty good ones, but that's one of the best ones I've seen. Where were you at on it?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was so fun to watch. It was just, I think everybody was just on the edge of their seats. And then, in the first half when you're just riding that Spike Albrecht wave and you're thinking, is this going to happen in the second half? And you can't wait to see what happens next. And, I mean, it was really, it certainly lived up to, all the hype. And a lot of times, you get to a Super Bowl or a championship game or, something like that, and then it's kind of a downer. And this certainly wasn't that.
No question about it. Of course, Rick Pitino and Louisville get it done. Rick Pitino wins championships now at 2 different schools. First time that's ever been done. Where do you put Rick Pitino in your evaluation of college coaches of all time?
Boy, he's really up there. I mean, he's got to be, obviously he just was named into the Hall of Fame, which, was one of the many things that happened right in his life this week. I mean, he had an outstanding week, as you probably all read, and as if winning the championship wasn't enough. But then he also got named to the Hall of Fame. And I think he certainly would be, without thinking about it much, would be in my top 10, all-time college coaches. He's been outstanding. And, taking a Providence team when he was a real young coach to the Final Four, and then, later with Kentucky, he sort of, rebuilt that dynasty. Kentucky with Adolph Rupp back in the day was outstanding, and Joe B. Hall, and then they kind of went down, and they had obviously struggles, and but then he brought them up, and they were just awesome, and for years. In fact, I was just reading the other day, one of his teams that he coached there at Kentucky had 9 NBA guys on it. I mean, how good is that? And so he was obviously just, got a real role going there, and then he goes to the NBA, and then comes back to the cross-state rival in Louisville, and now he's equaled what he did at Kentucky at Louisville. And so it's pretty phenomenal to think of all the things that he's achieved, and not only really college, but also in the NBA game.
Talking college basketball and national championship in the books on Monday night with Chris Danker, NetScoutsBasketball.com, where you can go for Chris Danker stuff. Also, let's look at this. NBA draft will be approaching here, and this is the time of year when we see all these college players that had great years and some that have had great careers either go to the NBA draft or not. I want to get into this. How about Cody Zeller? He's going to go into the NBA draft. Carter Williams from Syracuse, he's going. Russ Smith from Louisville, his dad says he's going. McLemore from Kansas, he's also going. Those are some of the big headline grabbers. When you look at those guys I mentioned, who's the biggest surprise, I guess, that is? Russ Smith, is he the biggest surprise jumping out?
Yeah, he's the biggest one for me. I definitely think he probably gets drafted. I mean, I don't know if it's first round or if it's second. The big question mark with Russ Smith is and first of all, I'm a fan of his, and obviously he's a great college player and wins a national championship. And, how can you question the timing, I guess? And so there's a lot of positives to say, but I think if you're looking at it, from an NBA evaluation perspective, he's a small guard to begin with. And in this day and age, even point guards aren't all that small anymore. And then Michael Carter Williams is evidence of that. Out of Syracuse, he's 6'6" and really long-armed and That's what the scouts love about the guy. And so then you're looking at Russ Smith, and he's probably 6 foot on a really good day. Now, that said, he's super fast. And with the ball, and, obviously there's a lot of ISO situations and pick and roll in the NBA and transition game and all that where he can really excel. But the question is just that. Is he a point guard? Can he play point guard? Are his decision-making skills, his ability to make others better, up to what his one-on-one skills and his ability to go get his own shot are. Certainly we know he can do that. And in the championship game, obviously, he went and got his own shot and didn't make very many of them, so he struggled in that regard. He's not an overly consistent shooter, although he can shoot, and he can shoot the three-point shot a little bit. That needs to improve. But, can he become that lead point guard? And I think that's a super big question to be asking of a 6 foot guy. I mean, if we were saying, well, Marcus Smart from Oklahoma State at 6'4", 225, looks like a linebacker. Can he play the point in the NBA? Well, if he can't, he slides over and he plays the 2. I mean, the guy can rebound and defend and do a lot of things. Well, I don't know that Russ Smith has that luxury, so that's a concern for me.
Yeah, Chris Denker joining us, NetScoutsBasketball.com, breaking down some of these guys that are jumping into the NBA draft that I've already declared. I've got a guy, Colton Iverson, just had him on the show, all Mountain West first team, and a great conference for basketball. Has really improved there down at Colorado State. He was at Minnesota first with Tubby Smith. Colton Iverson, big guy, rebounds well, trying to work on his footwork and his quickness and his mid-range shooting ability. But I'm grabbing out a guy like Colton Iverson, and I'm wondering, where do you put him? CBS has him, number 64. That's 15 spots ahead of Nate Walters from South Dakota State, who you and I already talked about. So where do you think a guy like Colton Iverson fits in?
Well, what's interesting is big guys are always going to get, if not a good look, they're going to get 2. So, he's going to have a shot. Teams are always looking for extra depth up front. And he's a good one. I mean, I think he's a good player. He had a really good career, as you just stated, and did a nice job for Colorado State, and they had a great year as a team. And, I think a lot of times with big guys in the NBA, as long as they're there physically, and, he's somewhere between the 6'10" and the 7 foot kind of range they're oftentimes looking for, and he's probably in there in between the 250 to 265 range that they're oftentimes looking for. So now it's okay. We've got a guy with legit NBA size. Now what does he do? And because a lot of times these guys are not going to be, the first option offensively, and he would be no different. He's not going to walk onto any roster in the league, and then they're just going to start running set plays for him or asking him to go get him 20 a night. That's going to be reserved for the guys that are a top 5 pick, and even then, they're going to have a learning curve. But he can do some things, and can he rebound? Can he play defense? Can he shoot it from the perimeter? And so some of these questions are going to be asked, and it's what guys like him that are also in this draft, who shows that they have a tool that they can bring to the table. A lot of times, guys look at, and, obviously Dennis Rodman's an easy one. Well, he can rebound. But Kenneth Faried was the same sort of thing, an undersized guy at 6'7" and about 220, and he's a power forward. I mean, there's no bones about it. The guy's a power forward. But what does he bring to the table? He can rebound, and he runs the floor, and he's active, and he brings energy, and he can rebound. Well, you don't need to do, again, you don't need to be the leading scorer or whatever. You just have to bring something of value to that team. And so I think with him, it's going to be, can he play defense and can he get some rebounds and keep possessions alive and screen for the guys who need the shots and that sort of thing. And I see him as a second-round draft pick. If he does well in all these workouts and everything, he could potentially slide up. Late first would be his ultimate. That would sort of be his lottery, but I really see him as more of a mid to late second-round guy.
Chris Denker talking Colton Iverson. Chris Denker with NetScoutsBasketball.com. Do you have Nerlens Noel as your number one guy? Seems like he's the number one guy on all the boards.
No, I don't. I'm different than a lot of people, and I don't. And as a matter of fact, if you looked at a lot of boards back in December, there were seemed like 6 Kentucky guys in the lottery and all over the place. And I didn't. I had him in the lottery, but I had him, I think, at 4th. Back in midseason, and then obviously when he got hurt, that hurt him and it hurt his draft stock. He may still come out, and he will certainly get drafted. He will most definitely get drafted in the lottery, but I don't think you can draft an injured guy like that, even in the top 3. And the only reason I say that is because he's still got a ways to go as it is, and now he's damaged goods, and so now he's going to have to come back, get healthy, and then start trying to play, and then start trying to learn and get to where he can actually contribute. And so, you're looking a couple years down the road. Well, anymore, that first contract's expired, and unless you're willing to throw big bucks at them, they're going to leave and go somewhere else. So I don't know that that's a pick I'd be making, right off the bat. And just to finish my thought, I've pretty much erased all the Kentucky guys off my draft board at this point. I mean, a lot of those guys, Poitras, and a lot of them are either going to go back to college or transferring or doing whatever they are. And let's face it, they didn't make the NCAA tournament. They can't be lottery picks in my mind.
Who's number 1 for you?
I kind of waver a little bit these days, but the guy that I've really liked, and I've seen him, live in person. I like his body and his strength and what he can do, and I think he's still got a lot of big upside. Is the Anthony Bennett kid from he's a Canadian kid, but he's at UNLV, and he's not 6'10". He's a 6'8", 245-pound power forward. So there can certainly be doubters on that or question guys. Hey, maybe he's not big enough or whatever, but he is just legit NBA strength, physicality, thickness, power. I mean, you just look at him and you look at a lot of other 19-year-old kids, and there's a major difference. And so I think he's one. Alex Len from Maryland is a guy that I really like, and I think he's still got some upside and some potential and some development. You mentioned Zeller. And then another guy that I really like a lot, and he started out at 2 for me, and then I dropped him mid-season, and now he's kind of rising back up, is Ben McLemore from Kansas. And from all the sort of the perimeter guys, he'd probably be that guy that I would pump up there first as a perimeter type player.
Talking NBA draft prospects now that the college year is done, guys are coming out left and right. Oladipo, Zeller, they're out at Indiana. Of course, there will be more to come, I'm sure, and a lot of folks already declaring. Even Russ Smith's dad saying that Russ Smith out of Louisville going to be coming out. McLemore as well from Kansas, the freshman. So a lot to keep our eyes on, Chris. Good stuff. We really appreciate it. NetScoutsBasketball.com, where you want to go. Thanks, Chris. Enjoy your 70-degree cool evening out in San Jose, and I'll be snowblowing thinking of you.
Well, I'll be thinking of you too, Nate. I wish I could do something about that snow problem.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you again. Appreciate
it.
Take care. Chris Denker, NetScoutsBasketball.com, NBA scout. Lucky to get him on. Good stuff breaking it down. Wanted to get that taken care of. College season over. A lot of talk right now. A lot of players coming out. Interesting stuff when you watch these guys in the tournament to keep it fresh in your mind. That's sometimes what the casual fans. That's the first time they've seen these guys on a consistent basis is in the NCAA tournament, and these are the guys that you keep an eye on when they jump into the NBA. We'll be back. Talk with Padraic, Duffy of the Rapid City Journal. But first, the new head Winter boys basketball coach, Jim Drake. An era is done in Winter. Over 30 years there. Young guy taking over for Winter. His name's Drew Weber. He'll join us live next.
At Mel's Auto Body, we are committed to providing complete customer satisfaction through our repairs, competitive prices, and old-fashioned personalized service. This is Kevin Rohrbach. For 25 years, our family has been dedicated to returning your vehicle to its like-new condition. We use state-of-the-art equipment, highly trained techs, and work with all insurance companies to get the job done right, 100% guaranteed. Remember, you have the right to choose your body shop. We hope you choose Mel's Auto Body, located under the Big Red M on South Valley Drive in Rapid City. Check us out online at melsautobody.com.
With winter finally here, wouldn't it be nice to have the assurance of an all-wheel drive car? But what about gas prices? Subaru has you covered. Get the road-gripping traction of symmetrical all-wheel drive with up to 36 miles per gallon in the Impreza. If you need more room and more ground clearance, check out the Outback with 8.7 inches of clearance, cargo capacity to rival many SUVs, and 30 miles per gallon highway. Why compromise? See the most fuel-efficient lineup of cars in America at Courtesy Subaru at the corner of Omaha and La Crosse Streets or at courtesysubaru.com.
Paying 200, 2.25, 2 to the bid, 20 bomb, VP, money, get 200, VP, here, no 75, 275, now 3.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson Auction Company. We can turn your property to cash. We can sell your personal property and your real estate at auction. A family business for 64 years and counting. We've sold several millions of dollars in property over the years. We're happy to consult with you on your auction plans. Let our selling experience work for you. Call McPherson Auction, 605-348-1369. Visit us on our web at McPhersonAuction.com.
Sold it here for $575.
You're listening to SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
At Mel's Auto Body, we are committed to providing complete customer satisfaction through our repairs, competitive prices, and old-fashioned personalized service. This is Kevin Rohrbach. For 25 years, our family has been dedicated to returning your vehicle to its like-new condition. We use state-of-the-art equipment, highly trained techs, and work with all insurance companies to get the job done right, 100% guaranteed. Remember, you have the right to choose your body shop. We hope you choose Mel's Auto Body, located under the Big Red M on South Valley Drive in Rapid City. Check us out online at melsautobody.com.
오빤 강남스타일 강남스타일 낮에는 따사로운 인간적인 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자 너는 선호해 낮에는 너만큼 따사로운 그런 선호해 커피 식기도
We promised we wouldn't do that Gangnam style. Is that how you... We promised we wouldn't play that on the program, but I tell you, it's just too good today. Hey, people livened up on this snow day. Busy show tonight. Appreciate you being a part of it. SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown on SDSportsBuzz.com. You can watch us live there. Also right here on Rapid City's talk station, Kim Talk Radio, 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. Had Colton Iverson on tonight, Colorado State. Now an NBA prospect working out in Vegas tonight. Took some time away, gave us some opportunity to visit. Colton Iverson ranked number 64 on CBS's board as far as NBA prospects. That's 15 spots ahead of South Dakota State great Nate Walters. Colton Iverson out of Yankton. Had a great college career at Minnesota and finished up at Colorado State. Also talked to Chris Denker just moments ago, NBA scout for NetScoutsBasketball.com. Wanted to get his thoughts and break down all these guys jumping out of college early and who's going to get that opportunity in the NBA. The biggest one surprising me, by the way, is we just saw him on Monday night, Russ Smith out of Louisville, jumping out early. Now, he's a junior there at Louisville, so not like he's jumping out as a freshman here, but a junior at Louisville. A lot of people thinking, is he going to be that NBA guy, because he's 6 feet on a good day. He's 6 feet, and you've got guys like Ben McLemore is 6'5" out of Kansas, a freshman jump. Oladipo out of Indiana, 6'4". I mean, these guys are just seem bigger, more athletic. Russ Smith is a game breaker, is a competitor. He has some good attributes. There's no doubt about it. But that's one his dad saying he is going to jump out and go to the NBA draft. And I'm interested to see how some of our South Dakota guys, Nate Walters, number 79 on CBS's board, Colton Iverson, number 64. Good stuff. We just broke it down with Chris Denker. You can see his stuff at NetScoutsBasketball.com. Closer to home, talking hoops, end of an era in winter. We've seen this guy coach and go to state tournaments. Jim Drake, over 30 years at Winter as head boys basketball coach, now giving way to a younger guy, Drew Weber, new head coach at Winter, joins us on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Drew, it's good to talk to you. How are things in Winter? I know you guys got hit with snow and everything else. Is everything all right?
Well, I can't speak for Winter because I'm still back in Brookings doing some teaching at Lake Preston for this semester, but I know Winter got hit hard, and it's no better over here.
Well, get ready, because I'll tell you, so you've been in Brookings there, close to Brookings. You've been there, so winter's going to be no problem for you, man, when it comes to weather. You're just going to be ready, because Brookings is not a sunshine place, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. I look forward to actually, when I went out to Winter for my initial interview, it was this was about almost 3-4 weeks ago, and it was almost 70 degrees. So I really like that. I can handle it twice as warm.
You're saying, man, winter, 60 degrees in March? This doesn't happen in Brookings till about May or June, possibly, right? That's kind of how that goes. Give everybody your history here, Drew. Drew Weber taking over at Winter at head boys basketball coach. Why'd you want to go to Winter? What's this opportunity about?
First off, I'm come from Flandreau, so small town, but very similar to Winter, just on the East Coast of South Dakota, and grew up. My dad was my basketball coach over in Flandreau for many years, much like Jim Drake at Winter, and big basketball family. Always been interested, been a gym rat ever since I was 5, I think, is when I first started going to practice, and been there ever since I graduated from high school, so always wanted to be a coach, and now I'm just lucky for this opportunity.
Have you had an opportunity to coach or be an assistant, or you said you've been a part of a basketball family, so you have that pedigree, but professionally, where are you at going into this Winter job?
Well, actually, I just graduated from SDSU in December, so the only real professional coaching experience that I have is I think when I was a freshman in high school, I coached t-ball for Flandreau. So that's it as far as it goes professionally. But I'll look forward to this opportunity, and I think I'll be just fine.
Obviously, you've got a job. That's a good thing, right? Right out of college, so you got a job first and foremost there in Winter, and now you're going to be the head boys basketball coach. So when you think about that, though, Drew, you're going from college, you're going right away into coaching high school boys. Do you think you have an opportunity here, or at least maybe an advantage of relating to some of these guys because you are a younger guy?
Oh, no doubt. I actually met with the team the other day for the first time, and I can tell right away that they responded to me, and I obviously responded to them. And having teaching experience as it goes, I know kind of what's going on with the students, and there is still enough of that age gap that throws me for a loop sometimes on things references that they don't get that I get. But no, I think that'll be big for me and for the athletes. Someone young coming in, change of pace, and I think that'll be great.
New Winter boys basketball coach Drew Weber on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line here with Nate Brown on SD Sports Buzz tonight. Whose brain do you pick, since this is your first opportunity as head coach? Whose brain do you pick? People along the way that have showed you, that have helped you. Do you even go and talk to Jim Drake, who's been there for over 30 years?
Well, definitely. I've already actually spoke with Coach Drake, and for sure that in the future, as the years go on, that I'll use him as a resource for sure, because obviously he knows what the other programs in the area are doing and all that. But I also have a great assistant coach in Trent Olson that's been there a long time, Winter guy, so he'll help a lot. Also in the school district, Bruce Carrier is the superintendent, the man that hired me. Had a great coaching career, included at Huron College. He had really built a really nice program there. And then, like I said earlier, my family, I have plenty of coaches. I got my dad was a longtime coach. I have an Uncle Rod who still coaches at Sanborn Central Woonsocket, and another Uncle Ron who coached at Armour under Burnell Glanzer for many years.
Where did your dad coach, Drew? Where did your dad coach?
Flandreau, 20-some years at Flandreau, and a couple years before that in Arlington, and so there's a lot of people that I can use and I will use in the upcoming seasons, of course.
I'm going to tell you right now, you've got too many people that are going to be telling you how to do it, man.
I agree with that, but you just have to have selective hearing when it comes to that.
Yeah, as a coach, you've got to have that anyway. As a coach, you've got to have that selective hearing anyway. Want to ask you about Winter. They've had a great program there, football-wise. We know that they've won state titles, and Jim Drake over there at basketball, he's had a great run as well in basketball. When it comes down to you, is that an attraction for Winter? Obviously, you wanted that job first, and now you wanted to be a head boys basketball coach. Is it what do you know about Winter as a high school athletic supporting community? It sure seems like a good place.
I'll tell you, to be honest with you, when I applied at that job at Winter, I thought it would be just a dream scenario for me because of the reasons that you just said. Like you said, their football program's great. Their basketball program's great. I know they have a great baseball program in the summer as well. The kids there are fierce competitors. They're athletic. They like to get after it. They like to win, and that was a big draw for me because I am very similar in those regards.
How about I'll let you run with this. You're there at South Dakota State. You just graduated at South Dakota State. Did you ever have an opportunity to take Nate Walters one-on-one? I mean, come on.
Actually, I haven't, but I will say my roommate, and he'll be happy that I gave him a shout-out here, is the strength and conditioning coach for SDSU. So I've gotten to know a little bit more about the inside of what's going on with those athletics, and I really look forward to seeing what Nate can do in the future, but I don't think he's going to take the time to play me one-on-one.
Well, that's a good connection, though. Your roommate's the strength and conditioning coach. He must have done a pretty solid job with the Jacks and probably gave you a little inside information, man. What's it been like with South Dakota State making a run into the tournament the last couple of years? It's probably been fun for you.
Oh, it's great. It's awesome. It's huge for the whole state. Just gives you that little bit of pride in your school and the area that you come from, and it's great. And I even though Walters and Fegan are leaving, I think that they've built a little bit of a program there, and I think they're going to have success into the future.
Coach, I'm going to let you run with this. You're going to have a lot of things that you're going to have to adjust to right away, being a first-year head coach, getting to know the kids, getting to your philosophy and your game plans implemented and everything that you're going to have to do. But one thing that might jump into play here is 35-second shot clock. It was voted on by the activities directors. They wanted it in Class A. It's going to have to be approved by the actual board of directors. But what's your perspective on a 35-second shot clock if you have to deal with that?
Well, it is something that I've actually gone back and forth on. But there's the one side is it's great because it speeds up the game, does all those things. But which I'm in favor of, especially towards the end of the game. I'm not a big fan of the 3 minutes of fouling and things like that towards the end. But in the area that we play in our region over at Winter, there's not a lot of teams that slow up the game, so I don't think it's going to be. It wouldn't be too much of an issue, but it does take away that little bit of coaching. It kind of some coaches, like you said earlier in your show, like to slow it up and do things like that, and I'm worried that would take away that ability for coaches to do that. But again, I don't think it'll play too much. It's not going to in my program, and I don't think it does much in the programs around us.
Hey, Drew, what do you think's going to? I'm going to let you run with this. What do you think's going to be the toughest thing to deal with or to handle as a head coach of a high school boys basketball program? What do you think's going to be the most challenging?
For my first year, I'm not so sure if it'll be as big of a challenge for me, but I think as far as my athletes, for my players go, making a smooth transition from what Coach Drake did for 31 years, legendary coach, into the way that I'm going to do things is going to be it's going to be my responsibility to make that as smooth of a transition as possible, and I look forward to the challenge.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing how things go for you. Congratulations on being named the head coach at Winter and getting that position down there. Wish you the best of luck. We'll probably run into you as I know Winter has done some battle with teams, whether it's St. Thomas More or anybody along the way. So looking forward to talking with you again. Congratulations. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Drew Weber, new Winter boys basketball coach, live on SD Sports Buzz tonight. There's going to be more of those coaches popping up. We're going to have a new football coach in Spearfish, a new football coach in Stevens. We'll have them right here on SD Sports Buzz tonight as that arises. We'll wrap up the program and break some things down with your favorite in mind. This is going to be icing on the cake, man. That's why we save him the best for last. He's going to love that I'm playing him up on that. Rapid City Journal, Padraic Duffy, up next on SD Sports Buzz tonight.
More than your thirst at Thirsties.
Anytime's a good time for a great time at Thirsties. Come on down to Thirsties on Wednesday night and test your knowledge with Battle of the Brains trivia and enjoy a delicious meal off that world-famous Thirsties menu. Thirsties, 819 Main, downtown.
Come on in and quench more than your thirst at Thirsties. Sure tastes good.
With winter finally here, wouldn't it be nice to have the assurance of an all-wheel drive car? But what about gas prices? Subaru has you covered. Get the road-gripping traction of symmetrical all-wheel drive with up to 36 miles per gallon in the Impreza. If you need more room and more ground clearance, check out the Outback with 8.7 inches of clearance, cargo capacity to rival many SUVs, and 30 miles per gallon highway. Why compromise? See the most fuel-efficient lineup of cars in America at Courtesy Subaru at the corner of Omaha and La Crosse Streets or at courtesysubaru.com.
When it comes to shopping for a used vehicle, you can find good, you can find reliable, and you can find affordable. But it isn't too often that you find all three in one vehicle, except when you shop at Pro Auto Care. At Pro Auto Care, all vehicles are inspected and serviced on-site by ASE-certified auto technicians, so you know your vehicle will be reliable. And they're affordable, too, many priced under $4,000. Check them out at Pro Auto Care, 1891 Rand Road, Rapid City, 342-0857.
Every week, you hear something in the news about low interest rates, and some of the talk can be downright confusing or even misleading. How do you separate the hype from the truth? Call Premier Home Mortgage. They can help you refinance your home or help you with that credit card debt. And they'll break it down for you in terms we can all understand and not mumbo jumbo. Give Premier Home Mortgage a call right now at 716-7373 or go online to premierhomemortgage.com. Premier Home Mortgage. Fast, simple, and smart.
It's always something.
You wouldn't take a long drive without checking the oil, gas, fluids, and tires. Maybe you should check your auto insurance, too.
Fill her up? No, just check the deductible.
Talk to your independent agent. We're driven to get you the best rate. Fisher Rounds & Associates Insurance. It's always something.
It's always something.
Fisher Rounds & Associates, Rapid City. Phone 737-7865.
Your blood is mine. Okay, you're right. Just show your face. Broad daylight. I'm telling you on how I feel. Gonna catch your mind. Don't shoot you. Jump on. Jump on.
SD Sports Buzz tonight back on 106.7 FM, 1150 AM, Kim Talk Radio, Rapid City's talk station. Also online in HD at sdsportsbuzz.com. Rapid City Journal sports writer Padraic Duffy back on the Mel's Auto Body Sports Line. Padraic, how's the snow been treating you over the past couple of days? Did you have to walk home last night? I heard that you were in danger of that last night.
No, I managed to get home just fine last night. Took a little while to dig out this morning, though.
Yeah, as it did for everybody. All kidding aside, it's been a tough one the last couple of days, and I put this out there. Weather-wise, people have always said this. Now, I know baseball's not your number one sport, but weather-wise, people have said South Dakota high school baseball is just not going to catch on because of the weather. Games are going to get canceled. Practices you can't get in. It's just not conducive to baseball to be playing it right now in South Dakota in the spring. And I kind of get what people say, but to me, let the coaches, let the players, let them deal with that. It's not like we get hammered every year. Okay, maybe we do, but it's not like we get hammered all the time with these snowstorms in the spring. I say let them handle that. Where are you at on the high school baseball phenomenon that people have said, it's not going to catch on? It's not even sanctioned, all this and that. I'm saying, well, it's catching on because the participation is through the roof right now.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I wish I could tell you that I really care one way or the other, but I don't.
Look, come on now. Come on. You can't be that honest. You can't be that honest. That's why people don't like you sometimes.
I'm sorry. I just no. I mean, I think that it's if kids like playing baseball and they want to give it a shot, get out there and play. But yeah, I mean, obviously nobody's going to be playing baseball for a few days right now. But
here's what I say. I like giving kids opportunities because it goes to this argument of, and I've heard it, you've had to hear this, that track and field participation has been dismal. It has really declined. There's some track and field programs that are really hurting, and coaches are concerned because of high school baseball. And I guess I have to say, I always give the kids the choice and give them an opportunity. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's fine with me. I mean, I don't have any problem with kids getting to have different experiences with sports, and just don't complain when I don't show up to watch.
So, what are you going to go watch? Track and field or baseball? I mean, can I pinpoint you on one or the other?
Boy.
You just can't decide, can you? You just cannot quite decide.
If it's a beautiful day outside, I don't know. It's hard to say. Neither one of them are really way up there on my list of favorites.
Now, let me tell you, though, this isn't downplaying some of your great articles that you've written about track and field athletes, right?
No, not at all. I don't try and downplay anybody. I mean, anybody's accomplishments in any sport. Just because I'm not necessarily a fan of the sport doesn't diminish my respect for the athletes that do it in any way, shape, or form. I mean, shoot, I grew up in a house with a wrestler. I mean, so I understand that I'm not going to like every sport, but I definitely respect the heck out of competitors and what they put in to be good at what they do.
Okay, I got you on that one. I'll just have to do my homework next time when I bring up topics. I'll just make sure that I just kind of, make sure we talk about what you want to talk about. Padraic Duffy joining me, Rapid City Journal. Before I, put a cap on tonight's show, I do want to ask you about this. The new coach out in Sioux Falls, Washington, Chad Statham, new head football coach out in Sioux Falls, Washington, they go away from the assistants that have been there a long time. They've had a couple of assistants out there a long time, and I ask this because that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering what's going to happen at Rapid City Stevens as well. They've had some assistants there. Ferdinand was an assistant. He ended up getting the head coaching job. I see it more times than not that the assistant, if they've been there a while, they get a head coaching job if it opens up. Washington, they didn't do it. They went outside. They got the head guy at Flandreau, who obviously had success at Howard. He had success at Flandreau. Washington goes that direction, and I wonder where you think Stevens, for example, on the football side is going to go, and what you thought of Chad Statham if you were familiar with him out east.
I think obviously Washington's got a great tradition, and that's something that they're going to, do everything they can to uphold. And Statham's had success at other places, so I think obviously that's a pretty good hire for them. I mean, at this point, I mean, that program is just rolling. I mean, you've got 80, 90 kids in the weight room in the off season. I mean, they're going to keep going, I would imagine. Stevens, I don't know. They've shown a proclivity to kind of hire from within, so I wouldn't be shocked if they hired from somebody from within, but I don't have any idea. I haven't heard a thing. I don't really have any idea what they're thinking.
And there's no right or wrong way of doing it to me. Some people have said, you got to go with the assistants if they've been there a long time. And that's what I talked to Craig Mattick earlier on the program, and he was talking about, some of the people that get upset that they didn't go with an assistant that's been there a long time. And you hear that sometimes. To me, I guess there's not a right or wrong way to go. To me, you got to get the right guy. Sometimes the right guy that needs to be a head coach isn't an assistant, right? I mean, that's kind of how it plays out, yet we've seen that happen a lot, not only in high school. You see it happen like at Black Hills State. The last few coaches they've hired, they've just been assistants there. Where do you stand on that deal? My deal is, if he's not the head guy, you got to get the head guy.
It's like, I think it's kind of like anything. You've got to, if you're an AD or, whoever's making that decision, you've got to make what you feel is the best choice and, accept the consequences one way or the other. I mean, if that's the best choice in your mind, you go with it, and there's not much else you can do. I mean, I think everybody's going to try and hire the guy that they think is, or the girl, I guess, the guy or the girl that for a job that is going to, do it the best for them, and we'll see what happens at Stevens.
I know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. By the way, speaking of, Stevens and Central and some of these things happening. Where are things at? Have you heard on the front of, there was an article in the Journal about improving team sports, specific team sports, namely a couple of big sports that I think people are looking at, basketball and football, with Rapid City Central and Rapid City Stevens trying. The school board has talked about that a little bit. I wonder, where do we go from here? Where do you think things are at?
I think we go to. I think the football players should go immediately to the weight room, and the basketball players should get in the gym and start working on their skills.
I knew I was going to get something like that.
I think that's where you need to go.
Oh, I knew I was going to get that.
I think obviously a coach provides direction, but when it boils right down to it, what happens on the court or on the field is on the kids. And it's, I just saw a thing the other day. It's self-improvement season in basketball. Season's over. You know what you need to work on, and now's the time you get better. You can complain next year, I guess, if things don't go the way you wanted. But it's all on you to get better right now.
Let me put this out there. Isn't there a lot of answers that we are looking for right now? Do you look at changing the middle school way of doing things as far as picking teams and selecting players on certain teams? There's that answer. There's sports-specific training. Isn't there really a lot of answers outside of going to the weight room?
There are, yeah, but I think that's the biggest one. There are things that we can do to make sure that the kids that are putting the time in are the ones that get rewarded, and that could possibly start at we need to look at how we do it at the middle school level. But no, I think sports are very often a lot simpler than people want to think they are. It's who works the hardest, who puts the blood, sweat, and tears into it, and that's who's going to be successful.
I'll tell you what, if I wasn't thinking straight, man, I'd say this snow kind of got you in a fiery mood, man. This snow, this kind of got you fired up today. I'm glad I was able to get you on to wrap up this show, kind of unedited and just ready to roll tonight on numerous topics.
You hit me with the high school baseball right off the bat. It kind of just threw me for a loop.
Well, that's the thing. I need to vet this process a little better. I need to vet, say, hey, we're going to talk basketball, and then we're going to talk basketball, and then after that we'll talk about basketball. Hey, all right, man. I'm going to let you run. I appreciate you coming on. We'll get it going next week. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nate.
All right, Padraic Duffy, Rapid City Journal. Just all over tonight. Just all over tonight. And our show is over. Appreciate it. Thanks for making SD Sports Buzz a part of your Wednesday night. We'll be back next week better than ever. I better be good, man, next week. It's my daughter's birthday. We're going to be celebrating this weekend, but it's still my daughter's birthday next Wednesday, so I better be ready. Otherwise, my wife won't let me perform on the program anyway. So we'll be back ready to go, and a surprise guest possibly next week. We're working really hard to get this guy, one of the great all-time coaches in college basketball. Working really hard to get him next Wednesday. We'll see if we can do it. Back next Wednesday, 2 hours of South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Thanks to all the guests for dropping by, as well as you. Stay safe out there. Snow, wind. It's been unbelievable in Rapid City and the Black Hills. Now freezing rain out east. Hope everybody takes care. We'll see you next Wednesday. It's been Nate Brown and SD Sports Buzz tonight.
You've been listening to SD Sports Buzz Tonight with Nate Brown. From East River to West River, high school to college to the pros. This is your sports talk show that covers it all. Every Wednesday night from 6 till 8 p.m. Nate Brown, SD Sports Buzz Tonight on Kim Radio. Talk that matters.
And S&P 500 both closed at new all-time highs. That after the Dow surged 129 points and the S&P gained 19. The Nasdaq rose